Welcome to episode 16 of Book Nerd Paradise, where we get to know an author a little bit as they share a favorite quote, read from their work, pose a trivia question, and give away a book or two. Hi, I'm LRW Lee, author of the Andy Smithson Epic Fantasy Adventure Series. As always, the ebook of Book One is available for free download on Amazon. I was also going to make mention that with summer upon us, the audiobook is also available for free download on podiobooks.com. Just search for Blast of the Dragon's Fury on podiobooks.com and you can get that for free, so you can take it with you anywhere you're out. I'm excited to announce that you can also take Book Nerd Paradise with you. That's right, Book Nerd Paradise episodes are now available for free download on the iTunes store under podcasts, so be sure to look for the channel there. Today we welcome YA fantasy author Lauren Lynne as our guest. Lauren is the author of the Secret Watchers series, of which there are currently 4 books. She says the good side of growing up is that you can write whatever you want. The downside, now she can't read it without her glasses. She is a graduate of both Oregon State and Portland State Universities with degrees in education. Lauren wanted to stay close to her roots in education, so she chose to write for the age group she loves to teach. She sat down with her teenage boys and began brainstorming. Since she's drawn to all things action and adventure, YA fantasy was a natural fit. She says she's a klutz, so instead of bungee jumping or cliff diving, she lives vicariously through a character she's created who she says is much braver, tougher, more graceful and athletic than is she. Lauren was born and raised in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. Writing is her passion, but when she's not writing, she can be found spending time with her family, working with students, reading, gardening, or hiking with her camera. Please join me in welcoming author Lauren Lynne.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my honor to be here today.
Lauren will be reading from her YA fantasy novel, Visions, Book One in the Secret Watchers series. So that we can get a feel for the series, would you give us a brief synopsis of the series?
But the synopsis in general is about young Owen, who isn't into school, and then suddenly a gift is unlocked for him, and his whole world changes. So I took a little karate kid, and he has a mentor, and I took bits and pieces of other things that were close to my heart. I was hoping to touch male reluctant readers, but I found a very wide audience, everything from 5th grade girls to senior citizens read the book, which makes me smile. In general, it's just about Owen's journey and how he discovers that there's so much more to the world beyond himself. So he has a special ability to make it fun. That's the fantasy element. Otherwise, it reads like it's happening right now today, locally here in the Portland area. And he goes out and solves problems because he touches things and then he can see glimpses, almost like a video clip or a photograph. It's like something has gone wrong. And then he is driven to fix these things. And so the problems get bigger, and each year, kind of like Harry Potter, grows a year each time a new book comes out. The same is true for Owen. He starts as an 8th grader. The 5th book, he's a senior in high school. So the problems get bigger and bigger and bigger. They start out smaller in Visions.
So you have a favorite quote. What is it and why is it a favorite?
And I understand it's Eleanor Roosevelt. The past is history, the future a mystery. But today is the present because it's a gift, is the essence of the quote. And I love that, and I try to remember that. In other words, push the past behind you. It's okay, it's done. Look forward to the future, but you don't know for sure it's going to happen, but be sure that you enjoy each moment along the way.
Lauren, you'll be giving away a book. What is that?
I would be happy to give away Visions, but if the winner already has Visions, I am certainly willing to substitute any of the 4 titles that are currently available. So that would be Whispers is book 2, Insights is book 3, and Perceptions is book 4. But they could choose.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's great.
Absolutely.
So to enter to win, all you need to do is go to YouTube or iTunes and go ahead and leave a comment with the episode. And that's all you need to do. Just a really quick comment and you're good to go. So Lauren, you'll be reading from Visions, as we mentioned. This is book 1 in the Secret Watcher series. Would you briefly set up the portion you'll be reading from and then go ahead and read?
I'm actually reading a snippet from the end of the book because I wanted to kind of highlight the action adventure portion of the book. This is Owen's 8th grade year, and common around here is for 8th graders to go on a trip to Washington, D.C. and to visit New York City. And since my boys were doing that very thing, I set up Owen and his friends to go on this adventure. And so at this point in the story, there's a girl that he likes, and he tries to work that out. He discovers that someone is following her as they've gone to the Smithsonian, and he doesn't know what the person's intentions are, but he's very afraid for her. And because he cares about her, he can't let anything happen to her, because he's been training with his mentor. I mentioned the Karate Kid connection, because I think adults are important. And so often in a lot of younger people's literature, adults are very much pushed to the side. And I want kiddos to know that there are adults out there that care about you and want to help you. So I set up White Eagle, who's the combination of a few people that I know, to be Owen's mentor. So here he is with his friends at the Smithsonian. It starts out, and Owen has seen this person from across the room, and he has this bad vibe, kind of like he sees the pictures in his head of something bad that has happened. He gets a sense, you know, that feeling when the hairs go up on the back of your neck? That's kind of what Owen has. It's like a tingling almost. Oh my gosh, something isn't right. So here we are. His chilling smile widened, but never reached his eyes. I can have whatever I want, he said with a lazy sneer. You'll have to go through me, I said, with as much courage as I could gather around myself. Something in my stance or tone must have gotten to him a little, because the smile slid off his lips. He stiffened and the color drained from his face. He feinted to the right and came at me from the left. I blocked his fist and second assaults, but I couldn't get a hit in. This was easier than the fight at the mall. I had learned more since then, but this was difficult in its own way. At least it was one-on-one and not 3 in a car on 1. I had to keep track of Lucy and the attacker. My attention was only divided 2 ways instead of 3, but I didn't care if I hurt those guys at the mall. I would die before I let anything happen to Lucy. For now, to protect her, I had to keep this guy away from her. I had to stay alert, focused, on my feet, and stay between Lucy and evil. He came in for the 3rd time and slipped past my guard, punching me hard in the gut, forcing my air out in a whoosh. Lucy made a desperate sound behind me. She was shaking so hard I could feel the quiver in the air. I got a good kidney punch in on him and heard him grunt in reply. You thought this would be easy, I asked to irritate him and keep his attention on me as I stomped down on his instep with the heel of my boot and landed an elbow to his jaw. This guy was tough. He could take a hit. What should have knocked him back barely had him taking a step. I didn't have time to think or plan. I could only react. I was getting in some good hits, but it was rapidly becoming apparent that this man had studied fighting a lot longer than I had. Why hadn't I kept our group together? Adrian and I could have taken him as a team of 2. I needed a weapon. I needed him not to get a weapon. I had to take him down. What had I done? How had I allowed us to get trapped like this? Stop it. Fight, I told myself. He tried to get past me, like it was too much trouble to bother with. I dropped low and put my shoulder into his gut to push him back. Lucy squeaked and moved to my left. Good. She sensed that was the way to go. We were locked desperately together, my muscles strained. I couldn't let him turn me and get my arms behind me. Instead, he sent 2 quick knees to my gut while pulling my shoulders down toward the knee. I fell to one knee with a groan, turning to protect my head. No, Lucy screamed. The sound rose up out of her like it was ripped from her very toes, then up and out her throat. I could hear her scrambling behind me, but I wasn't done yet.
You're leaving us wanting more. We need to know what happens.
Well, there is a book 2, so he obviously survives.
Oh, don't say that. You're spoiling the whole thing. Our guest author last week, YA fantasy author February Grace, posed a trivia question.
My question was, in Douglas Adams' classic sci-fi novel, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, protagonist Arthur Dent passes out upon hearing one thing in particular no longer exists. What was that thing? And the answer? McDonald's hamburgers.
Lauren, you have a trivia question for our listeners. What is it?
What is it that unlocks Owen's gift?
That's a good question. I guess they really will have to have read the story, won't they? Lauren will reveal the answer to this trivia conundrum next episode, so be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the answer. Lauren, are there any final thoughts you'd like to leave with our listeners?
I guess my best final thought is go out and be your best self every day. There was a teacher that I used to work with that said every time students left her classroom, she said, now go out and be wonderful. And it touched my heart. I thought that was great. And I think it's important. And I say that often to kids, either what she said or the go out and be your best self every day. Just keep trying. Don't give up.
Gotcha. Oh, that's good. I like that. Yeah. Well, that is good. I hope you've enjoyed getting to know YA fantasy author Lauren Lynne. I'm LRW Lee, author of the Andy Smithson Epic Fantasy Adventure Series. Book One, as I've mentioned, is available for free download from Amazon. And also, if you're out and about, get the audiobook from podiobooks.com. Our guest author next episode will be YA fantasy author Alec John Bell, sharing from his novel Forbidden Darkness, which is Book One in the Forbidden Darkness Chronicles. The synopsis reads, just days before her 16th birthday, Heather Hawkins deals with her best friend Kirsten's attempted suicide. So the last thing she wants is more drama. But when Heather finds that her dreams are suddenly starting to be haunted by a guy named Caden, she learns that she is a monster hunter. And on her birthday, she will undergo a change that will make her stronger, more powerful, and nearly invincible to monsters. She soon comes to realize there are many more than just monsters in the world that need to be dealt with, though. When she finds that this Caden, who's been haunting her dreams, will do anything to stop her from helping the monster hunters, even if it means unleashing a terrifying being that was locked away by his people thousands of years ago. How far will Heather go? Look forward to hearing more about that tale next Monday. Click the button to subscribe to the Book Nerd Paradise YouTube channel so you don't miss upcoming authors, giveaways, and answers to trivia questions. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and I look forward to seeing you again next Monday.